Please subscribe, let me monetize my videos. Okay, thank you YouTube, bye.
Hey, I still don't know how to do intros. So what's up boys, welcome back to the Cool Guy channel. Home with the coolest kids and the coolest clicks and all that other things that begin with C and get that alliteration going up. And instead of cooking today, I am here to present you with my new obsession. I've been thinking of one question, a little simple suggestion, and this has left me running. Testing TF2 for I'm not even joking, maybe the past few months of my life. And it's all on the behavioral expression of TF2 players. Putting it more specifically, are TF2 players smarter than a frog? Or mouse, if you want to be more scientific, I guess. But essentially we're figuring out if TF2 players have a better subconscious memory than a frog. I literally came up with this idea when I was drunk walking past the Frogland area near where I live. Don't ask if you don't know what I'm on about, just you don't want to know. But you're probably now thinking what have I even clicked on? What is behavioral expression? What does this mean? What is this guy on about? And to that I say, basically, behavioral expression is the way a player in TF2 moves and acts, and if it's similar to anything else. So we're basically figuring out if there's any deeper meaning to the way that we move in TF2. So now that you understand this, you're probably now thinking, wow, that's a bit of a dumb question, bro. And to that I say you are right, but I have wasted 3 years of my life on uni, so I gotta use this knowledge somewhere, right? That's okay, so let me carry on. Obviously, I'm not seriously suggesting that TF2 players are thicker than the typical toad, but I do think it's an interesting question for us to ponder over. Come on, that was a good pun, yeah? Yeah, that's right, it was. Subscribe for more zingers like that. So now that I've got your attention, let me explain about exactly how we're gonna go about doing this experiment, okay? I think you'd probably be a bit interested in this. Number 1! Over the past few weeks, I've been planning an experiment to run on TF2 players to test and see if they actually remember or even put any amount of thought into how they leave spawn after respawning. Now I'm sure you're thinking how would I even figure this thing out? But hold your horses for just a little minute, little one. We'll get there when we get there. I gotta go through the introduction first, okay? We gotta build that suspense. Now I've noticed when playing TF2 that after respawning, people's immediate thought is to just immediately get straight back into the action. They don't actually think about how they get there. And you're probably guilty of this as well. Think about it. You just walk out of spawn and just walk straight to the front line. But because you know the battle is actually ahead of you, and you should be safe from attacks from the enemy near your own spawn base, most players are less situationally aware about the things surrounding them in the current moment in time, and they don't really think about how they are actually playing the game beyond pressing W and holding it down. This is why if a demo has gotten to your spawn door or a spy runs behind you in this moment, you're more susceptible to getting that's not how you say that word. Susceptible. There you go, that's right. You're more susceptible to being killed. Of course, the closer you get to the front lines, the more aware you become of the situation. Your brain is more active and your thinking are more focused on the battle at hand. I know I work like this, and I'm pretty sure you guys do too as well. So now that's explained, you are now definitely 100% wondering, big lovely CJ Johnson, can you stop thinking about what I'm wondering about and just tell me how you can test us out? How are you going to be able to tell and see if a player actually thinks about how they leave spawn? And that, my most mesmerizing and majestic mercenaries, is where I would like to introduce to you a map you've known for pretty much all these years. You've been playing on it all the time. It's King of the Hill Lazarus. Created by all these blokes that I can't read out the names of because I'll be honest, I can't read. It is a community created cough map added to the game in Jungle Inferno. And the point is actually the literal fountain of youth. If you win the round, you can actually unlock it and go inside of it, and it even heals you if you're damaged. And that's pretty cool, but it's not really the highlight of the map for me. Now the actual highlight, the thing that makes this map so good to me, is actually the spawn room. Coincidentally, the spawn room is actually a pretty cool looking research facility, which lines up pretty well with what we're doing here. We're doing some research, so yeah. This is my headquarters now. It's even got a pretty cool little hologram of the globe, and it's of course repping the respective team colours. Remember this place for later. But in front of it, the most glorious, illustrious, marvellous spawn doors to ever exist in the history of this game. A 90-degree turn to the left or the right. That's it, that's all it needs. This is perfection, this is literal perfection, it's perfect. I cannot overstate how incredibly designed this spawn exit is. and I think it's the only one like it in TF2, unless you count like the spawn doors at like that one spawn in 2.4, but I don't because I don't like it. Plus there's also another spawn in 2.4, but yeah, forget 2.4, we're here on Lazarus. And the reason it's so good is because by blocking the players from walking straight and out of spawn, they are forced to make a choice. They have to make a choice of, where do I go? Do I go left or do I go right to leave spawn? Now if you're a cool, smart person, you might be understanding and realizing here where I'm going with this. But just, you know, hold on a little moment, we've got to make sure the other people catch up. There exists a type of maze created to test the cognition of animal models. They're called T mazes, and as you can kind of guess, it's shaped like a T, like as in the letter T. And from that you can run whatever experiment you desire on it. And yeah, it's kind of cool because Lazarus's spawn is the exact same design as a T maze. So what we're going to be experimenting on is how the players interact with the proposition of going left or right. Which way will they choose, and how many times in a row will they choose it? Yeah, that's the experiment, that's literally it. I know it's simple, but I can't exactly be performing brain surgery on a random medic, can I? I don't think that's normal or allowed. Anyways, specific animal models tend to have a type of search strategy or a specific way that they move in these mazes. If they're a higher intelligence animal, like a frog or a human or a mouse, or they have a good working spatial memory, they alternate from going left to right to left again, and so on and so forth, providing the T maze actually continues on. Obviously our Lazarus spawn doesn't continue on, but we can sort of act like it does by just keeping tabs on them on which way they go when they respawn. Now if the animal model doesn't have a good spatial memory, due to a mutation, old age, or some other reason that I can't exactly say on YouTube, I don't mean it in a negative way, it's just that it could literally be that reason. Please don't hurt me, I'm not even monetized yet, I don't want to be like blacklisted by you guys yet, please. I need money, please. But yeah, if they don't have that good spatial memory, they will tend to never alternate the directions they go. They'll choose one direction and go in it in random patterns. So instead of going left, right, they'll go right, right, left, right, or right, right, left, left, or right, left, left, left. Do you get what I mean? It has to be an alternation. So essentially, alternations in directions shows a good working memory. Going the same way continuously or not alternating shows a not good memory. Alright, we got that? Yes? Great. Now we have to actually get on with, you know, setting up the experiment and doing it and performing it. This is where my life has gone for the past like few months, so yeah. So to begin, I pinged my Discord server.
Link is in the description, please join.
To join the server and instructed them to play the Team Fortress 2 game. And from which my Discord server unanimously decided to tell me,
no, we're not going to be doing that. You see, it's midnight right now, and we are all going to bed, so good night, Mr. CJ.
So a week later, at the exact same time, I did the exact same thing, but I also begged some of my friends to get their mates to join me as well. Lamau. So yeah, special thanks to Ian the Awesome, Hexalina, Roffa, TV12 Line, Luna Raven, and Danish74 Calm. I love all of you, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without you, so, you know, cheers! So I got all of them to play on a game of Lazarus, and I told them to play as well as they possibly could. And to ensure absolutely zero bias was present in this sample, they weren't told the nature of the experiment, only that Lazarus was important and they needed to play on it. The only member who actually did know about the experiment was Hexalina, as they recorded their POV on the blue side. And there were two rules to playing this, okay? Rule number 1, you don't play medic. Medics only have one thought upon spawning, and that is to get that Uber meter of theirs up as fast as possible. As a result, they don't think about how they leave, they instead think, where is my teammate? I will leave with him. So they find and they heal their teammate and follow them, like, outside of the spawn door, which means they're following them outside the spawn door, which means they're not thinking themselves about where they're gonna go. They're just following whoever is next to them and going out their way so they can, you know, raise up that Uber charge meter. Which is like good, that's what a medic should be doing, but it imparts bias as they're not thinking, but rather following. You get what I mean? So we can't include medics in this sample size. Rule number 2 is engineers should be banned from building teleporters. like, the team knows where the teleporter is, right? So they can leave the spawn door, that will have the teleporter active, which will impart bias. I actually forgot to tell everyone this last rule, but none of the engineers actually built a teleporter, so it's fine, you know? Okay, we about it, like, just don't worry about it, man, it's fine, like, just don't worry about that little part. Okay, thank you, bye-bye. Now it's the matter of actually cataloging this information. Remember what I told you about my friend Hex recording their POV in the blue spawn? Yeah, I did the exact same thing, but in red spawn. So we all went spy, I went to this exact area in our respective spawns, just went invisible, stayed still. That was it, for the entire round. This lets me see the players walk out spawn and the exact door they leave by. From here, I can look at each and every player and catalog the way they leave, marking it down, putting it into a nice little table. For you guys, I guess that means this opening shot for the team, which I'll put over their heads the results that person got. The R means right and the L means left. I'm sure you could tell that, but still I should, say it anyways. Now, say it with me, I'm sure you are wondering, but CJ, you big, smart, incredibly illustrious man, you. What if they walk backwards or don't leave spawn? And to that I say, shut up, stop talking. So these guys will be our control group. I can now look at them, mark down how many people alternated from right to left or vice versa, find out the percentage of players who will be able to subconsciously remember which way they went before. Oh, and also to keep this a fair test, we only look at the first 4 times they left spawn. So yeah, after, adding up the numbers, running the numbers, doing all that, which took way too long, like, I should really be doing my exams right now. But here I am doing this, so yeah, what a great use of my time. We see that only one person alternated every time. Yeah, literally one. Only one. So yeah, that's great. Like, out of my entire control group, 10% of them actually alternate and thus exhibit behavior patterns of wanting to explore a new environment. And it was the only guy who was dressed like freaking Jotaro Kujo. Like, let's go, Jojo for the win. So yeah, needless to say, it wasn't exactly the results I was hoping for. If I'm honest, maybe a little bit upset, but we moved. There was one other guy who only left spawn 3 times, but they did show alternation as they went left to right to left. But I'm unsure as I can, actually keep that into the results, because like they didn't move 4 times. Actually, wait, no, that would make 0 sense to keep this outlier result. I'm going to exclude them. But excluding this guy also means I'd have to exclude all the other people who didn't leave spawn 4 times, which takes this sample size down from 10 to a whopping 7. So yeah, okay, great, we can still work with this. The new results at the news percent is like 14 point a bunch of numbers percent. So let's just round that up to 15%, okay? Cool, okay, great, we got this. This test I've designed, I'm actually basing it off of a test done before on developmentally stunted tadpoles, and even they managed to make the correct alternating turns more often than not. So it's really not looking good for us, boys. With 15% of us doing that, yeah, this ain't gonna go well. It's either that or my experiment is actually really trash, but shh. Please allow it, I've lost control of my life and this is all I have left, please give me money. But yeah, anyways, then again, this was an incredibly small sample size. Ideally, I'd have a bigger sample size. The more players means the more deaths and the more they respawn, meaning the more I can actually include them in the results. I could use admin perms to kill everybody at a set interval, but that would just make everybody really confused and it wouldn't be very realistic to an actual match now, would it? Speaking of an actual match, it's time for us to go and find a new batch of players to test. Oh goody! Here go hours of my life. Now we get to assess the actual TF2 player base at large and hopefully make some progress with this experiment. Right, hopped into a game, did the same setup and repeated it 10 times. 5 times in Uncletopia, 5 times in Casual. Why? Absolutely no reason, it just ended up becoming this way if I'm honest. Well, actually it was 5 times in Uncletopia and I got 3 in Casual, but my boy 74 sent me his POV of him running the experiment in Casual, so I used one of them and filmed one more. So, cheers 74, real nice of you. Anyways, enough stalling. I bet you're excited to see the results. And oh gosh, what I found was absolutely appalling. Yeah, it wasn't good. My control group was incorrect, but not in a good way. It seems that the average TF2 game has literally less than one person who would exhibit this behavior. That is so sad. It's kind of funny, but like in a morbid way. Like I want to cry. So let me show you the graphs. Here we can see the 4 sections. Control, you already know about that, so we won't divulge any further into it. The full test sample is pretty self-explanatory. It's just every study group added together into one section. It's then separated into the casual servers and Okutopia servers. Then I sorted them out into different categories, where the players exhibited these alternating turns and where they didn't. But I also showcased parts where the outlier people who didn't die 4 times were removed, and where they were added in. Now I know what you're thinking about that predicted section. Well, stop thinking about it and let me explain. Some outliers showed symptoms, for lack of a better word, of expressing alternating turns. They did this because while they didn't die 4 times, they did die 3 times and alternate each time, like as I mentioned before in the control group. So for these guys, I made a new graph showcasing what would have happened had they completed their course and still showcase these behaviors. But they didn't, so like lol, who cares, not me. Look at that lovely graph, isn't it great? Wow, yeah. Someone put a lot of time into making that. Ooh, yeah. You're gonna say in the comments, oh wow, you did really well, Big Josie. Cheers, man. Please type something in the comments so I can respond to it and boost this thing up in the algorithm. Please, the algorithm hates me. Please, I'm Gordon Ramsay. Please help me. But yeah, I suppose now we can actually talk about what this means. Obviously, it shows that outside of the control, 5% of the TF2 players alternate between spawn doors when leaving, which reflects the way that frog tadpoles ordinarily would leave, along with a majority of higher intelligence animals such as mice. This is indicative of animals that have been proven to have memory, or at the very least, that they want to explore a new area. So, 75 of TF2 players are literally more scared than a mouse. Or you could look at it that they have worse memory than a frog. It's up to you how you want to look at it. Whichever one helps you sleep better at night. Interestingly enough, Okutopia players were more prone to leaving the spawn door hit the exact same way every single time. I don't know what this means. It could mean that they remember less, or like they don't want to remember at all. It doesn't mean anything in behavioral studies. It's usually random with no rhyme or reason if they like don't alternate. But constantly going in the same way would leave you going in a circle, because if you go left and then left and then left and then left again, you get back to where you started. So you would make no progress and you wouldn't move anywhere at all. You make your own conclusions here, actually, if I'm honest. Like, I don't know what this means. Okutopia players, what does this mean? Tell me, I need to know. And if you want the numbers on, like all this, like too bad, if I'm honest, it's 1 AM now and I'm really tired and I want to go to bed, so I'll see you he-hoes later.
Subscribe, join my Discord now, please give me money.